I think I first got interested working with tools when I started going on job sites with my dad. When I was really young, my dad was an electrician, turned master electrician, and then electrical contractor, and finally being a business owner, owning his own electrical contracting company. I started off just going to jobs with him and hanging out, to actually getting tools put in my hands and working alongside of my dad. And I grew up that way all the way until I was about 25 years old, but started out when I was about 7. When I started off with my dad, actually, putting my hands on tools and tools on materials, I was getting paid in Winchell's Donuts, because those were the stores that we were remodeling back in Southern California. That was such a critical part of my whole life. I mean, I can't tell you how meaningful it was to get paid with donuts. I mean, I had 7 on a table, and it was like, I didn't even know which one to eat first. As I started to go work for my father more and more, I got older and older. Donuts weren't quite cutting it. Plus, I was, an athlete, and realizing that diet was a little bit more important to me. So the donuts turned into dough, and though I was the last to get paid, which I didn't mind, Dad started to give me a little bit more of a wage. And when I was in high school, and I was a little bit more coordinated and had a number of years of following my dad on the job, he would then send me out on service calls. So he could send me out, and I would go take care of it. So by the time I was in college, I was pretty well independent in that I could troubleshoot problems that most commercial buildings encountered. From J-boxes to receptacles to panels, sub-panels, etc. That's the kind of wiring that I did. So I was one of his most reliable employees. And so, because when I came home to Dad. But I love my dad. I love my dad's company and what it stood for. And he was my best teacher. Watching my dad go on a job site, and I knew we had the blueprints, and we'd look at these and we'd look at the walls, and there'd be a barrier in the way that like a beam that we weren't expecting. And my dad would look at it, and I'd be like, "How are you gonna fix it, Dad?" He said, "Let me think about it." And it wasn't long before he came up with a solution. So I learned a lot of courage watching my dad, and I watched him work through it, and I helped him. I held the tool, I climbed up in the attic, I did whatever he needed to get the job done. So just it's endless, the things that I learned. A lot of what I did working for my father, I utilized on board the space station, because you're at a place that things break all the time, and you don't always have what you need. And sometimes you have to get pretty clever with what you have to fix things. And one of the times when I really used the training that I received from my father is when we had a pump fail on board the space station, and I had to go do an EVA to fix it. One of 2 ammonia pumps external to the space station failed. So we were down a single cooling channel, and there's only 2 cooling channels. It's like a radiator in your car. And when the radiator goes down, there's nothing to cool your engine. It was just a miraculous event on board that required the efforts of everybody who's got a hand in the space station. So from working the tools to working the teamwork, it was one of the most gratifying things. And there was an electrical connector that I had to remove on the failed pump that was really stiff, and I had to use an alternate method of getting the connector off. And once I did, I got kudos from my crewmate, Doug Wheelock. He's, "Way to go, TC." And I said, "My dad would be proud."
Got it.
Yeah, TC.
My dad would be proud.
And I asked my dad later, "Did you hear, Dad? I gave you a shout out." And he acted all cool. He was like, yeah, I heard it. I was like, "It was from space, Dad." There's so much I could talk about with that spacewalk, but I did feel like I had taken all of my skills as a construction worker and really put them to work during that series. Got this when I was 7. I only had 1 pouch with a few electrician hand tools, but as I got older and more responsible and a little better, my tool belt grew and I needed suspenders, just like my dad's. Here it is, instant electrician. You wanna know what's in it? Got my assortment of screwdrivers, so we always have slotted. I've got my standard Phillips. This is really super important. I've got my long slot. It's got electrical tape around it so that I don't zap myself in case, you know, I would get into a box that I didn't create, somebody else did, and I get shocked. So I got my 1/4" driver, I know because it's got a yellow dot. I got my needle nose, that's super important. And then I got my channel locks. And then I got my awl. I really need that because combination with my hammer, that's how I make holes in the wall. All right, it's cool. Love this stuff. Then I got my my clines, or on the job they're known as the linemans, because you can pull wire with them and you can twist wire with them, you can cut wire with them, but we call them clines because it was the first cline tool that I ever had. No electrician is caught without their wire strippers. You've got grooves for different size wires. When I was a little girl learning how to do this, I had just one size and I had to make it work. And then I got older and a little bit more savvy, and so I graduated to this one. Love it. Oh, super important. This is not called a level. This is called a torpedo. All right. This is my oldest tool, and it's maybe to you called a voltmeter, but to an electrician, a sparky they call us, it's called the wiggy. Once you apply the ends to live wires, it acts wiggy. So I also have electrical tape. Walls are made out of aluminum studs. We got our tin snips here, and then I got my keyhole saw. That's about it. This tool belt, every time I pull it out, and I use it either when I'm working at the house, or I'm working at the church, or I'm working on somebody else's house, just fixing a problem that they have. I think about my dad, I think about my mom, and what the two of them allowed me to do, and a skill that seemed to be just part of my upbringing has been a part of my life and my career every step of the way. And it's just become a lot more than just a belt that holds tools. I'm Tracy Dyson, and I'm a NASA astronaut.